Alright. Yeah, a beautiful day. You know, I want to talk about some of the mysteries that I ponder on, that I'm trying to make sense out of. It's about alignment. When you understand this world, all of a sudden you're not of this world and the world don't seem out of control. You more could control it and know how it works. So the more you solve these riddles, the more you're able to tweak the system of the matrix and put it towards your advantage. Well, anyways, now one of these mysteries for me is I remember back in the early 90s or late 90s, there was this guy, Malachi York. I used to read the scrolls, they got a lot of soul stuff to it. But, there was one particular one when I was just scrolling maybe a few months ago, just catching up on some data. I seen he had a definition for two people, as a matter of fact. It was Vishnu and Shiva and the Chaldean. He's saying that Vishnu, Shiva, and the Chaldeans is demons. And I was like, demons? Wow. Vishnu and the Chaldeans? Shiva? So it caught on to me for a quick minute and it stuck in my head. Now, as I'm studying Lenin and into the Sufism and their Arabic form of magical talisman and how they do their spiritual stuff, I start learning now they call their spirit or demonic spirit the Afri, A-F-R-I-T. So close to Africa. A-F-R-I, that would have been Africa, because you got to put the C-A as African. Africa would have been a place, and can would have been denoting of the people. So anyways, so Afri would have been the individual, the singular. So now I'm like, oh, okay, what does this is trying to say? This is just, reading and researching. So you're learning the language of how the Arabic saw it, just like another word, which was a word for spirit, like how the Jews had the word nous for spirit. Well, the Arabics, the originals, they had the word arawa, and that's the word for evil spirits. I'm like, huh? But Christopher Columbus discovered the Arawak. Then you look at what the Afrit is, A-F-R-I-T. You see that they was like purple color. Yeah, if you look up Arabics or Arabic Afrit, you will see them, these purple beings, Vishnu. Purple, indigo, Indian. I learned Indian is just a term. It wasn't denoting the Indians we're talking about. It's denoting a group of people of a black, dark complexion that was once called the Indigos. And later on, during the time of the Europeans, it got changed to Moors and Indian. Yes. So all of this was now running through me. I read some Love Child data. Is it Love Child? Well, like books on the Chitta and all that. And he got it in there too with the same similar thing. His thing is there was a primordial time where just demons was on the earth prior to dinosaurs, humans, the beginning. This is now reflected in when the moon and the earth separated. When the moon was with the earth, only thing was on here was those type of beings. Demons, ghosts, spirits, that's all could inhabit it because you had animal and humans together in one melting pot that created that. That's why the moon separated from the earth to give us an opportunity, or we separated it as souls inside the earth to give the animals their own growth and us our own growth. We gave the animals the earth and we receive our growth from the moon. Okay. So I'm thinking now like, wow. This doesn't seem too coincidental. Then you look up the word itself, Africa. Meaning, not definition, meaning. It says a group of people that inhabited West Africa or was seen in West Africa. So they don't have it like how we do it in the black community, because we ignorant. They give us fake information about some Afrikaners in Rome. No, they said it's to a group of people that once roamed that land. This is getting more interesting. So now when I look up Afrit, you see what's next to them is jinn. What's a jinn? We hear this jinn in Arabic term. Muslims, they all know what a jinn is. Not too many Christians know that a jinn is considered like a spirit. Today, with Christianity, you have good and bad duality. So you got either a good spirit or a bad spirit. So a jinn would be considered a bad spirit according to Muslim religion. Now, you see the jinn look like an animal face. It's not the same as the Afri. When you look at them, you're going to see an Afri is a purple being, a fat Buddha-looking thing. And a jinn is the one with an animal face but a human body. Woo! Clock starts spinning and spinning and spinning. You look at the Egyptian stuff, you see Anubis, all the characters in Egyptian art or artifacts, those would be considered the jinns. Then we're with the Afrit. The Afrit, now when you look up those pictures, it's taunting a specific group of people when they're sleeping, they're laying there. You even see one of a picture of a man laying, I guess like he's being crucified, and the Afrit is by his private area. Guess what they all have in common? The person that's being taunted is white. You would think that's kind of weird in Arabic for back then, drawing. Why a white person? Why not a brown skin or dark skin person? So I'm like, okay. That's why you don't see the dark. You are the dark. You are the Afri. How is that possible? How is it possible that somebody waged war on the earth to cover every piece of evidence to prove of anything that I'm trying to tell you? You got the Smithsonian Institute that went and collected every giant bones, every artifacts that is of significance to black information. All this stuff is hidden. You don't know what tribe now. We just know Egypt. Maybe they all got exterminated for a reason? Think about it. Nobody was kept as a POW. You go to the Moors. The recent Mosul with King Ferdinand and Queen Elizabeth. I mean, whatever their name is. Ferdinand and Elizabeth. That's their names. You understand? But both of them not only got rid of the Moors, they killed everyone. Not one lived. They slaughtered everyone. And then they took their name off of history and erased them out of everything and rewrote it. We don't know nothing about happened before 1492 after they won, because they made everybody disappear. These Moors is also known as the Sassarenes. They're also known as the Scythians. I'm debating and I'm looking because you would put the Scythians as the Phoenicians. And these Phoenicians was great traders and barters that went all around the world. And when you look at it, it's the same, like, it's only recently that they actually believe that Zimbabwe was not built by Europeans. And the Egyptians wasn't Europeans. Forever they considered them not a part of the Negro stock. They said that's European. The Egyptian artifacts, all the artifacts from Zimbabwe, which gave Cecil Rhodes the rights to take over Zimbabwe, plumage it, take everything they want, And the same thing with Egypt, off the strength that they have the right to it just like a black person do, because their people was there from the beginning too, which was a lie. After they destroyed it and took it, just recently they said, hey, you know what? It was the Negroes that created it. What's the significance? We got robbed. You see, when you say the term and look it up in the Black's Law Dictionary, the term black means dead. It don't mean a color of a person's skin. There's a color in law only. Even the term color only applies to law. It's like ways of bending the truth. It's called the color of law. You can twist it around a little. And so we're twisting everything around. When you look up the word white, why they chose that is on a legal status basis. White means purity. White means landlord. You get it? They took the land and called themselves white. You're black. You're dead in the eyes of the Lord and in court. And also they're pure now. And they're the landlord. The term in the Bible, Lord, don't apply to somebody in the sky. A Lord is you. You have the Father. That's the eternal God. You yourself, not a God out of you. This is now, I'm talking about what the Bible meant when they wrote it back then. It wasn't talking like how we think. We've been dumbed down to believe this. That's like saying circumcision. You believe that they meant to go get the skin cut off their penis. They circumcise means to rid yourself of the flesh, material things. Think about it. I'm going to just tell you, if you was using your head, how do a woman get circumcised? So a woman don't have no type of thing with divinity, holiness. When they tell you only the people that circumcised can go, what happened to the woman? So you got to realize that's not actually what they meant. Okay? It meant for everybody, man and woman, to leave the material world, cut yourself from all that stuff off, and circumcise yourself. Go within. But you see, they don't want to teach you the truth. You get the washed down version so it could work towards the noble family's best interest, which was to make y'all just laborers and follow instructions. So we're taking this a long way now. You know, we was talking about the term, the demons that I saw with Dr. Malachi York, how it's in reference to the Chaldees, Sheba, Afrit, and a whole bunch of in-between spirits such as jinn. You see them what they are. This now ties in with Cyrus. Let's look into that now. The star. You see, when you look into Cyrus, you're looking into doggone. Because Cyrus itself is the cannabis, the IBIS or whatever, you know, which give you the dog, which is where the doggone tribe represent, which also give you diabolical, Dios, Duppy, devil, and all the way back to Dios in Spanish, which means God again. God does a 360 from his front to the shadow and then back to himself. So, you know, we both have polarities in us. So I just want you to understand what it means, what all that means. The devil, the God, is both sides of you. Like you have a night side of the tree, which is your dark side, and then you have a light side of your tree, which is your day side. You only know about the day side of the tree. We don't know about the dark side. Even though we have it, we don't face it. But the dark side is what gives us our lessons to open up our consciousness. The light side is where we make all our foolish mistakes at. You know, because it's an illusion. We see what we believe. We think we're in love. We think this is the right one. Your heart tell you it is. And then later on you get hurt and you go, sometimes most people don't learn from it. They just ping off of it and go grab another one, ping off of it, grab another one, and spend the rest of their life pinging off of it and never ascend it. But anyways, that's not the point. We're talking about the demons now so you can understand the theory of my research. So now that I'm understanding and I'm thinking, okay, extermination of all the Moors, all the blacks, everything that got to do with black is erased. You don't even see a goddamn shield in a museum for blacks no more. You know, so we don't know who we are, and they tell us whatever they want. It's like everything just disappeared. A black world turned into not half and black, half white now. It turned to a white world, like whitewashed. Why? I'm pretty sure it's not mentally, purposely done like that as an ego thing. It has to have a deeper spiritual meaning to it, of not letting these people know who they are, like the story of the Lion King. And if they found out, it would change the world in a way that the world will never be the same again. So you got to understand, when I do this research, I know what's going on. And I know what they're doing, and I know why they're doing it. I want you to understand why they're doing it. And I'm not going to speculate, touch up situations. I got data to prove it, including my own transformation. So it's like our DNA that's locked, it could be activated, it could be unlocked at any given time. I know the process, I do it, but I just can't put these things out. You know, I never know who's out there. It could get me killed, much less it could be my success story one day. So I know a lot more, but I just don't tell it. I'm just pushing forward slowly. But trust me, whoever's following me, they understand, and they doing it too. Especially if you're getting in touch with me on a one-on-one basis. It's a life changer. I could unblock you with just my mind. You know, trust me, it's people that could bear witness to that with my hands. You know, it's like shaman lessons. I'm not just talking about it. I do it for real. Trust me, anybody, any day. So, and we don't even have to do it in person. I never did nothing in person. I do it from anywhere in the world, wherever you at, I come right to you. That's how it's done. Never, we have to meet. Okay, now, this is, like I said, the reason for the motive for my investigation. Let me go into a reason why more. Being that, like I said, it has a lot to do with our perception and what we think. And you know, when we're talking about slavery, it's only highlighted the negative aspects of slavery in one person's favor to make another look like they never had an upper hand in life. The kingship and royalty of the whole world that lies in our hands never been mentioned or even highlighted in life. Nobody even really cared. What we care and desire for is stuff that's negative to us. And it's not because of them. It's what we like. A person can only give you what you like, but why do you like it? Ask yourself. Why is this situation happening with nobody putting a gun to your head? Ask that. Psychologically, they got you. And so we get into slavery with the negative aspect of it. Then you look at why you got the Willie Lynch syndrome. They purposely embedded in your psychology something that will permanently have you twisted, that you won't be able to come back from and pull yourself together. So you got to realize, when you got free from being a slave, you wanted to be just like the slave master. You wanted the things the slave master wanted, but you had fear inside of you. This is embedded in your psychology into what's called splits in your personality. These splits only work through blockages, meaning you're only going to see things one way till the splits is removed and the energy blockages is done. And so it makes them easy to just direct you as the sheep to the slaughter without you understanding there's a cliff at the beginning and you can't see who's in front of you. So we all follow, we all happy, we all good, because it's a comfort zone. Nobody leave their comfort zone to go venture out to the front of the line to see what's really going on. So we all conform to what society's saying, do what they tell us to do, but then don't realize that we're still the lamb that is following the shepherd, and the shepherd is the one that's leading us to the slaughter. So by individualizing yourself, you can save the other lambs and say, yo, I went up to the front of the line. Nah, get off the line and go home. Go do this. Stop believing, stop following, just do your own thing. That's it. Information is what we stand on, and knowledge and intellect. We don't stand on a belief system, because that means you're weak. Anybody who got a belief system is using it to make themselves feel like they're standing when they're really not. They're floating in space. So until you're able to accept not being afraid of heights, not being afraid to be criticized, stop trying to fit in, individualize yourself. Even if you make a fool of yourself, that's how you learn. You understand? That's when you become yourself, you will allow yourself to evolve and mature. But if you always pretending like you're somebody else, you never learn yourself. Because you never let yourself exist much as to observe the real you. You never even looked at life through your real eyes. You were seeing it through somebody else's eyes. So whatever they told you is what you saw, but you never experienced. So this gets very deep, and this is why we have to wake up, because it's us that is supposed to be the one governing this world, not in a way of using ordinance or military power, and unity and structuring our minds back to the old ways. The reason why is back in the days, we lived in what's called tyranny. If we was to put it under the system, it was a totalitarian system, not a democratic republic type system that we have today. Let me make you understand why is that correct. That's because when we had the freedom, the word "you're free" now came, what was we free to? What was we free to do, to be exact? Think about it. Do you let your kids do whatever they want? Are they free? Do your government let you do what you want? So by telling you psychologically that you're free, you act a fool. That's where the fucked up things came. Once they told you was free to think whatever you want. Think you're free. You know you're not free because, NSA showed you that. Snowden tried that. Go do something. If you think you're free, go walk around how you feel and do what you want. You're not free. But what I'm saying is, when you start free thinking and don't realize there's consequences for everything, and you didn't learn nature, maybe those people that practiced the totalitarian system had one mind, one thing, and didn't care about what was material, and the government kept everybody at the same level, so everybody's consciousness evolved, and then they all ascend together and leave the motherfucking planet. They go to another dimension. Like how you see the Mayans disappear, the Egyptians disappear. When people disappear, just like how they say when Enoch and Elijah got taken away, nah, they didn't disappear, they ascended, man. They did what they were supposed to do. There was no distraction of toys, kids going to work, voting for a government. Look, you got to realize, whoever you voting for, you didn't select that person. You understand what I'm saying? First, you get two people, and they tell you to elect them, but they selected them. You got to get it together, man. They tricking us with the bullshit, and we play this game. It's like they give you 5 board games: Monopoly, the game of life, truth, and you pick which one you play. So when you get on there, you have to play by those rules. But you don't have to play. You could be chilling, doing your own thing. We participate in these things. They don't govern how you make your money, and they don't govern what decisions you make when you're making love. So you don't have to ask for permission for somebody to marry you. You don't have to ask somebody for permission to divorce you. When you get into a state like that, you're just a sheep, a dead soul, and you need somebody to direct you, including you need a partner to direct you. Everything with you is a death inside of you, an empty program that, until somebody tell you what to do, give you a law to live under, you don't exist. That's how you make a soulless exist. Once you give it laws, but if you give it no law, you will see it soulless. I'm not saying we are all soulless, and the ones with soul can give the ones without soul a soul, because it's an ignition that happened from the fallen angels. All the fallen angels they fell asleep, and they had a strand break in their DNA, and they lowered themselves to just a 4-strand DNA, which enabled them only to vibrate onto the third dimension frequency and only see the third dimension. So by them only able to see in the third dimension, they forgot that their angel, the angel is at 8-strand DNA. Yeah. If you was to see it, it was like, this would be you, right? Over here you got another you. That's a seraphim. Over here you got you as a cherub, a dragon. Over here then is your angel. Up here you got an angel body. It's all in your macabre circle. And you shift consciousness, boop, to this body. Then you shift to boop, that body. Then you shift to the angel one. They got the whole system. This ain't no big secret. It's the macabre body. That's how it works. It don't work like you're you. You don't even exist. You just have an experience that you think you're real and this is you. You've been who you was since day one. and know it too, but you can't see it. I think it's in some new movie my man was telling me about. I think it was something alchemy, a cartoon where they show the boy as himself. He's in this big ass robot, but it's in the ether field, and you don't realize that's him. And so at the end of the movie, he realized he was fighting himself. So that's really how you work. So I'm not saying you're nobody and you ain't shit. Nothing of that aspect. What I'm saying is your higher self want to get to know you, and your job here is to unite yourself with those invisible things. Not to get into the system and be a slave or a listener or a worker or an admirer or a cheerleader sitting on the bench cheerleading the shit. You got to ponder upon life like how the greats did that became astronomers, scientists, inventors. That's what we have to do. We have to be competitive as a black human being, white, whatever color you want to call yourself. I told you we don't do colors, but we need to be in the field. If you're not involved in it, you're part of the motherfucking problem. What are we raising? Problems? And you're good with that? Nah, man. Your kids is going to see this and be like, yeah, you're right. Stop that lazy shit and enjoying Netflix and just chilling and let somebody tell you what it is. And if you can't take it, go and watch YouTube with something conscious, man. These things activate your DNA and wake you up. And if you don't wake up, you're going to stay in a state of being used. When I say being used, I don't mean just to be working, because you don't realize you're in your body, but none of this is really you. How you acting is not the real you. The real you don't talk. It don't think. It's another you that's here doing all this talking, thinking, a bunch of yous. You have splits in your personality that make you think that this is who you are, this is real. And sometimes you compromise yourself with different personalities. But there's one master dude that run all your personality. If you had 1,000 of them, he aligns them all for you so you can fall back and see yourself. But until you go meet all of these scary motherfuckers, because it's your scary stuff, you can't really take the full journey of who you are. And if you can't take the full journey of who you are, you can't get into the higher kingdoms, because they know what's inside of you already. You can't pretend to yourself. So you have to do it. You know, I just want you to get the concept of this Afri, of what we are as demons. And the thing is, before we get misconstrued with what a demon is, you have to look it up. You know, the simple as Googling the word demon. And it's then, with that, Google the word Demion, D-A-M-E-A-N, and D-A-M-I-O-N. All of those, that's brother. It's significant for you to understand just the term what they mean by demon, because you will see that's a modern term for old principle or old spirits, which is your angel body and your macabre. And when you unite with it, it's like your subconscious awaken to those spirits. They see them, and with seeing them, they actually interact. This is what's called the 72 demons, or the goatee that Solomon locked into that little capsule or whatever. It's really your subconscious is the capsule that he's supposed to lock it in, with Solomon being you, your solar man, your astral higher self. So once you had locked all of those stuff in, it activates. But they're the 72 name of God. Remember, God got 72 names, which is 72 attributes, which is those 72. They built the temple. Your body is the temple that they're talking about. So after those spirits built it, they went and retired up in your subconscious and let you take control. But you also have opposing forces, such as what the Gnostics call the Dodo Broth, which is your pride, ego, jealousy, plus the spirits, the negative forces working against you to keep you here, such as gravity. I'm not saying this is exactly what it is, but I'm giving it in terms so you know the negative forces that work against you. It's in people too. It's always there. When you create something, a negative force got to hold it up to give you the will to push it. So don't look at it in a bad way. It's the term when Jesus said to Peter, get behind me, Satan. It comes with everything. So you have to know when to say that and keep going forward, and don't let nobody stop you. Now, when we end this off, which is going to be a long time from now, many videos, the point is everything is built off of magic. And you're going to see that. Everything is about sacrifice. Sacrifice is alchemy. Alchemy is yoga, uniting. Only way you can unite something is by making a sacrifice. Just like if you look in the Bible, the first thing that God did was sacrifice himself to give this a reality. Then later on, he sacrificed his son to give us consciousness because we was all animals. So you ought to understand what it is. If you want something, do a sacrifice. That's simple. And I'm not talking to one like they did. Hello, how you doing? That you're thinking about from like some biblical shit. No, if you want to lose weight, sacrifice, eat and fast for a while. If you want a car, don't go out and get 2 jobs. Sacrifice and cut back on some shit for a year or so. Disappear, go on the ground. Those are sacrifices, baby. Don't do all that fake biblical stuff. That make you no better than them. And you're back to being an animal. Anyway, I'm at my destination, University of Conscious Science. One love.